Okay, so I decided just to clear the stuff out of the way that is necessary to fit the engine, the new engine, into here. So first things first, took that off. Still not enough, doesn't fit, so took that off. Should be plenty of room, mate. Sweet, so I've got the motor roughly in the place, well, pretty much exactly where it's going to be, depending on the clutch, how far the clutch comes out. Just pray to God I can set it back deep enough that I don't have to adjust too much over. I haven't got too much room on this side, as you can see. I've just got to identify a chain and order the clutch with that sprocket on it, and probably get a bit of a chain extension, but getting ready for engine mount, so I've taken all this shit out. This was its engine mount setup and jack shaft setup, which is gone. So everything's been chopped out the back here, starting fresh. All the existing mounts, all the bracing for the back of the cart, and I've cleaned up the motor a fair bit, took out the governor, and I'm just going to set up the accelerator, throttle. So I'll put all the linkages in. I'm wondering if I just run straight to the little throttle flap under here. I'll show you when everything's taken apart, but wondering if I just hook straight up to that with my cable, or I would have more control on the lever arm that was on here. You know, I can there's mounting points for it, which is quite simple and easy, and I quite like that, so I might start with that. If I have any problems, I'll go straight to the throttle, but I predict more issues with hooking straight up to your little plastic throttle body here anyway. So anyway, so I cleaned it all up. I've pretty well got it ready. I was going to paint the fuel tank, but other than that, she's pretty well good to go back on the cart and start lining it up. I've made up this engine mount here, bolting bracket with adjustment. Yeah, so that's going to work a treat. I'll plant that right in the back here. I'm just setting up now. It's going to pretty much rest on this edge somewhere here, relatively centered, just so the sprocket lines up. I know I have adjustment here, but that grub screw is just locked in there and I can't get it across the keyway anymore, so it's staying where it is. My clutch is coming here, my engine's sitting centered pretty good anyway. So cool, so I've just finished tacking together the engine mount plate. So this is solid, it's like 10mm. I've got adjustability in my mounts here and in the motor, but it's just supported here by these little frame pieces. I'm just going to load it up with welds. It's just tacked until I know that it fits. I'll drill these and put a couple bolts in when I just determine my final adjustment, my final spot, because it's just tacked as well, so I'll move this. But it seems like a good solid system. That motor's not going anywhere. Just see if it lines up. Yeah, so it's nicely seated, and depending on where the clutch sits here, teeth of the clutch, it's my first motor like this, so I don't actually know or have a clutch to go by, but it should roughly sit just on the end of the spline there. So I measured the plate up too, made sure it was parallel with the sprocket, just so the mounting is parallel, but like I say, I still have that adjustment in the bolts. I might put some braces back in, maybe some straight bars back to where they were. I'll be careful not to get in the way of the clutch. But yeah, she's looking good. Just got to set up a linkage here. There's the accelerator, it'll pull that. Rev. But as that pulls, I'm going to set up a linkage from here to here, and that'll control the throttle. Love it. Things in place. This is the first time we had the engine back together since I bought it. I started it up when I first got it, haven't started it since, but I've just set it up, put it in place roughly and set it up with the throttle, and I'm just quite interested and keen to see how she goes. So I took the governor out, rearranged the throttle situation, so it's got an extra connector push rod kind of thing to the accelerator. It's a little tricky, bit of a tricky setup, just getting the travel on the cable right and everything, but that's my new cable adjustment, cable setup. Just like the brake, it's just offset to the side, kind of hides behind this bar here so your foot doesn't contact it, but by rights it should accelerate to max throttle, and I think I've got that sorted. So well, it runs. I think I need to adjust the idle. Let's give it a little bit more. Try that. Back on again. Wouldn't be surprised if these tack welds fall off. Definitely got to bolt it down, obviously going to. Very nice. The idle's probably still a little bit low, but sounds like she's going to haul ass.